Saudi Arabia's $1.5 trillion dream is hitting a wall, and its crown jewel, the line, just shrunk by a staggering 98%. But this isn't just about one city failing, it's the first domino to fall in a massive nationwide recalibration. Today we're looking at what's actually left of Vision 2030. From the suspended Mukaab skyscraper to the loss of the 2029 Winter Games, we'll reveal which projects are being sacrificed to save the 2034 World Cup. Stick around to see how Saudi Arabia is trading science fiction for a multi-billion-dollar reality check. The biggest factor is money. Over the past decade, Saudi Arabia launched more than 14 giga-projects under Vision 2030, many costing tens or even hundreds of billions of dollars. NEOM alone was estimated at $500 billion, while Diriyah is expected to cost around $63 billion, and Qiddiya tens of billions more. At the same time, Saudi Arabia committed to hosting Expo 2030 and the 2034 FIFA World Cup. Both of these require vast spending on stadiums, airports, rail networks, tourism infrastructure, and urban expansion. Funding all of this simultaneously has stretched national finances. Oil still funds much of Saudi Arabia's development. While their strategy aims to reduce dependence on oil, the government budget remains heavily linked to energy revenues. When oil prices dropped below earlier projections, government income reduced. Meanwhile, state spending continued at record levels. According to financial reports, Saudi Arabia has been running large budget deficits in recent years. This has forced the government and the Public Investment Fund to borrow more and reprioritize spending. Then came the reality of construction. Many of these projects are being built in remote desert regions, with almost no existing infrastructure. Before building cities, Saudi Arabia first had to build roads, ports, airports, power grids, desalination plants, and worker housing. For example, NEOM is located in northwest Saudi Arabia. That's why it required entirely new logistics corridors just to transport construction materials. This dramatically increased the cost and timelines. Engineering complexity also slowed progress. Some of the proposed systems remain experimental at large scale. For example, ultra-high-speed transit across the line, fully automated infrastructure, and climate-controlled environments. Building a mirrored city stretching across the desert with skyscraper walls over 1,600 feet high requires engineering solutions that we have never tested before. As construction stretched over the years, things like global inflation and rising material costs pushed budgets even higher. Labour demand also surged across Saudi Arabia, and that's because the country is simultaneously building new airports, metro systems, housing developments, industrial zones, and tourism projects. This created competition for workers, contractors, and materials. Because of these pressures, the Public Investment Fund is shifting their priorities. Instead of pushing every mega-project at full speed, Saudi Arabia is focusing on developments that can generate revenue sooner. This includes tourism hubs, entertainment cities, and cultural destinations. Some experimental or ultra-large-scale developments are being slowed. This does not mean Vision 2030 is failing. Saudi Arabia is still building, but now it is building more carefully, and yes, their strategy has changed. Let's take the line as an example. When NEOM was announced, it was a vision of the future. A $500 billion region the size of Belgium, powered by renewable energy, driven by artificial intelligence. They were going to make it a global hub for technology, tourism, and innovation. At the heart of it stood the line, a city unlike anything ever built. The original plan was breathtaking. 2 mirrored skyscraper walls stretching 170 kilometers across the desert, housing 3 million people, with no cars, no streets, and a high-speed train connecting the entire city in just 20 minutes. It promised zero carbon emissions, automated systems, and a new model of urban life. For years, this became the symbol of Saudi Arabia's future. But now the plan is changing. Instead of rapidly building the full 170-kilometer city, the initial phase may shrink to just around 2.4 kilometers. Population targets are being reduced. It's around 300,000 now. Construction timelines are stretching far beyond original expectations. And rather than building the entire megacity immediately, Saudi Arabia is moving toward a phased approach. They are starting small, expanding slowly over decades. Why? because building the line turned out to be one of the most complex engineering challenges ever attempted. Beyond the isolation of the desert, the sheer verticality of the line created a crisis of its own. We're talking about skyscraper walls nearly 500 meters high, a height that turned every basic construction task into a high-stakes engineering experiment. It wasn't just about building a city. It was about figuring out how millions of people could actually move through a single, narrow spine without causing a total logistical deadlock. But NEOM is not being abandoned. They're just reshaping it. Saudi Arabia is now reportedly shifting part of NEOM's focus toward becoming a global AI and data center hub. This new approach aligns with its broader strategy to lead in future technologies. Instead of pushing the full futuristic city immediately, the kingdom may prioritize sectors that can deliver faster economic return. This includes technology infrastructure, digital economy, and smart industries. Even so, NEOM remains one of the most ambitious projects on Earth. Construction continues, billions are still being invested. But the approach has changed, and the line is now becoming a slower, smaller, more realistic experiment, one that may still grow in the future, but no longer at the speed once promised. Beyond the line, Saudi Arabia's other NEOM projects face similar challenges. Let's start with Trojena, the desert ski resort that shocked the world when it was announced. Yes, skiing in Saudi Arabia. The plan included a mountain tourism city built around a huge artificial lake designed to prove that the kingdom could conquer any climate. It had one hefty, non-negotiable deadline, hosting the 2029 Asian Winter Games. But as construction stalled and cost reportedly jumped by more than $10 billion, that deadline became impossible to hit. The biggest confirmation of this pullback came just recently, when the Olympic Council of Asia officially stripped the 2029 Games from Saudi Arabia and awarded them to Almaty, Kazakhstan. For Saudi Arabia, losing the Games to a city with actual snow and established infrastructure is a major symbolic blow. It essentially confirms that Trojena won't be ready in time. Now, key parts of the resort, including the futuristic Sky Village, are expected to be significantly smaller than originally planned. The project is still alive, but without the pressure of the Winter Games, the impossible mountain dream has been put on ice. Now move a little west, into the Red Sea, and you find Sindalah. It's a luxury island resort meant to compete with places like Dubai and Sharm el-Sheikh. Golf courses, marinas, high-end hotels, elite tourism. This was supposed to be Saudi Arabia's new playground for global travellers. It even had a soft launch in 2024, but the problem is that the island is still not fully open to the public. Delays, slow construction, and internal restructuring have slowed progress. Other than that, management of the project has been shifted to another public investment fund company to try and speed things up. There have also been reports of workforce cuts and scaled adjustments. The vision is still there, but it's just the pace that has changed. Then comes Mukaab, which is one of the boldest and most controversial structures ever proposed. It is a giant cube rising in Riyadh, 400 meters tall and wide. In fact, it is designed to be one of the largest buildings on Earth. Inside, there is an enormous AI-powered immersive world meant to anchor Saudi Arabia's Expo 2030 ambitions. When it was first revealed, it drew global attention and also controversy. But as of late January 2026, work has officially been suspended. While excavation is complete, the government is now reviewing the project's financing and feasibility. Most tellingly, the official completion date for the surrounding New Murabba district has been pushed back from 2030 all the way to 2040. It hasn't been cancelled, but it is clearly under a massive decade-long reassessment. So across NEOM, Trojena, Sindalah, and Mukaab, the pattern is the same. The projects did not collapse, but are being recalibrated. But why the sudden shift? Why is the kingdom scaling back these landmarks just as they were gaining global attention? The answer lies in a new national priority. The biggest clock now ticking is the 2034 FIFA World Cup, and it's reshaping priorities across the country. Unlike a futuristic city that can be delayed, a World Cup starts on a specific day, and the world will be watching. This has triggered a significant multi-billion-dollar construction sprint. We're talking about 15 world-class stadiums across 5 cities, including the mind-bending NEOM Stadium, which is planned to sit 350 meters above the ground, suspended within the walls of the line itself. However, this ambition comes with a staggering price tag. With over $26 billion earmarked just for sports infrastructure, the Public Investment Fund is facing a brutal math problem. To pay for the 92,000-seat King Salman International Stadium and an impressive expansion of the Riyadh Metro, the government is having to make tough choices elsewhere. This is why we're seeing the big pivot. To ensure the World Cup is a success, Saudi Arabia is shifting its workforce and capital away from experimental projects and toward must-have infrastructure. They aren't scrapping the dream, but they are resizing it to make sure the lights are on and the stadiums are ready when the first whistle blows. But while the World Cup is absorbing the kingdom's experimental budget, it is actually accelerating the projects that are realistic, reachable, and ready to host the world. Thankfully, not everything is slowing down. Some projects are actually gaining momentum because they are central to this new World Cup first strategy. Let's start with Diriyah. This one is different. It is not a futuristic experiment. It's history. Diriyah is the birthplace of the Saudi state, and because of that, it carries huge national importance. The plan is to build a $60 billion heritage and tourism city filled with traditional architecture, museums, hotels, homes, and cultural spaces. Now, shift to Qiddiya. It has a completely different vibe. This is Saudi Arabia's giant entertainment and sports city near Riyadh. It already opened the first Six Flags theme park outside the United States, with some of the fastest roller coasters ever built. But Qiddiya is much bigger than a theme park. Plans include a Formula One track, sports stadiums, tourism zones, and massive leisure infrastructure. The goal is to bring in visitors, grow tourism, and make money. And because it can generate real revenue, Qiddiya is still on track, while some other mega projects slow down. It looks like one of the safest bets right now, and a project Saudi Arabia clearly does not want to delay. Energy projects are also still advancing. The NEOM green hydrogen plant, which we've covered previously, is nearing completion and remains one of the most tangible parts of the NEOM vision. It shows that while some ambitions are shrinking, others are moving ahead. While mega projects like the line are shrinking, there's one tower rising faster than anyone expected. Jeddah Tower, which resumed construction in January 2025 after a 7-year pause. And it's not slowing down, it's accelerating. By December 2025, Jeddah Tower had surpassed 80 floors, with construction teams adding a new floor every 3 to 4 days. When finished in 2028, this will become the world's first structure to reach a full kilometre in height, over 1,000 metres tall, surpassing Dubai's Burj Khalifa by roughly 180 metres. Originally announced in 2011, construction started in 2013, but halted in 2018 due to financial issues and the Saudi purge that affected major contractors. For years, it sat frozen at about 1/3 complete. But unlike experimental projects, Jeddah Tower has a clear business model. The 168-floor tower will feature luxury residences, offices, hotels, shopping facilities, and an observation deck at 652 metres, the highest in the world. The project is part of Jeddah Economic City, a broader development designed to generate actual revenue through tourism and real estate. Saudi Arabia sees it as achievable, profitable, and iconic. While cities like the Line get recalibrated, Jeddah Tower is proving Saudi Arabia can still build record-breaking structures, as long as they make financial sense. Here's the truth about Saudi Arabia's Vision 2030. It was never supposed to be realistic. It was supposed to be impossible, and that was the point. The Line, Trojena, Mukaab, these weren't just construction projects. They were statements of intent, a declaration that the future could be designed, not inherited. That a nation built on oil could rebuild itself on innovation. But ambition, no matter how bold, eventually has to negotiate with gravity, budgets, and the stubborn limits of what steel and concrete can actually do. What we're witnessing now isn't failure, it's recalibration. Saudi Arabia isn't abandoning its dreams, it's learning to build them one realistic phase at a time. Jeddah Tower rises, Qiddiya opens its gates, Diriyah honours its past while building its future. The sci-fi cities may have shrunk, but the vision itself, it's still alive, just slower, smaller, more human. So here's the question. Is it better to build one impossible city that collapses under its own weight, or a dozen achievable projects that actually change the country? Maybe the real vision wasn't the Line at all. Maybe it was learning when to say, not yet. If you want to keep following the world's most ambitious megaprojects, the ones that succeed, the ones that stumble, and the ones that rewrite what's possible, this is the channel for it. We'll be here, tracking every tower, every city, every bold attempt to reshape the future. Subscribe and let's watch what happens next, together.